Well, hello, everybody, and welcome. You have tuned in to episode number 384 of Linux in the Ham Shack. This is, well, it's unlike any show we've done in 2020. This is our year-end roundtable wrap-up, and we're doing it via Discord this time. We do have a couple of, what do we want to call them? We'll just call them listeners. I was going to make up something like, I don't know, victims, but yeah, whatever. With us tonight in the Discord, and with any kind of luck, you may be watching this on YouTube, so there might be some video along with it. But if not, you'll be listening to it as the audio podcast normally. And before we introduce our guests, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves as we usually do. I'm Russ. See, now you can see me if you're watching this on video. K5TUX.
I'm Cheryl, W5MOO.
Yeah, that's Cheryl, not that guy over there.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD.
And for those of you who are not able to see us, we do have Don, KB2YSI.
Hello.
Very good, very good. And we also have longtime listener Ted, WA0EIR.
Good evening.
And so they'll be jumping in or whatever when they feel it's appropriate. And we're just going to have, as we usually have, a roundtable discussion. I don't know if we're really going to talk much about 2020 per se.
But don't forget about Tony.
Because we
got Tony too.
Huh?
I was waiting for him to shut up, and I was going, what about poor Tony?
Tony's just so regular. He's almost like a part of the show now.
He's at least the butt of the jokes, right? You know?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I usually am.
Yeah, you thought I forgot you. No, I was just ignoring you. So go ahead and introduce yourself.
I'm Tony, K4 X-Ray Sierra Sierra.
All right, you had to throw in the phonetics just because I was a dick, so you can be one. Okay, fine. So anyway, I was saying that we probably will not focus too much on 2020 because really there's only been one or two topics related to 2020, and I think we're all tired of hearing about them. So we might let Bill do a little bit of steerage on here. I know he threw together a topic or two to throw out there. I know we're all kind of working on projects here and there. Tony, you've got like 65 irons in the fire. I've got a few over here. We'll probably get to all of that as we go along. But maybe we can hit up our guests here real first. And I'll start with you, Tony. And you can tell us what you've been working on. How about that?
Not my antennas like I wanted to, but that's just been...
I didn't say tell us about the stuff you're not working on. I said tell us about the stuff
but I'm supposed to. Well, gotta be. I still haven't put the rest of the what is it, the VHF Pi hat together yet. I'm still working on that. What else?
It's only been what, 2 months?
Okay. We'll go with that. Do have an antenna to put up. It's an 11 element VHF Yagi that's sitting in the shed waiting to swap out with my FT8 VHF Yagi. Then there's the whole repeater thing we'll be waiting on here, unknown on the time frame on that. But that's enough.
Okay. So we will talk about the repeaters in a bit, I think. Let's see if we can hit up the other folks in the chat first. Well, actually, I'm just going to go like clockwise around my screen, which is probably different than everybody else's. But next on my screen is Bill. So, Bill, what have you been working on?
What am I working on? Nothing. No, I'm getting everything hooked up here so I can start those videos I've been promising all year. I got the capture card all hooked up. Got the Mac getting ready to be wiped from Mac OS High Sierra. And I'm going to, what am I going to with that? I'm going to Fedora. I actually got it, just to prove I got it hooked up. It's right there. It's sitting there running High Sierra. It's a nice crap Mac. And if you're watching the video, you see my camera changed to the Mac, and that works really well. So I hope to, I'll probably just do those live and then save them off as videos. So if you want to join, we'll maybe set up events on YouTube and start those events we'll do that box, get that ham radio ready. And I'm going to try to make that the shack computer so I can take the box that you can see behind me here is my Dell Precision laptop that's currently in my shack box. And I'm going to move that to do more containerized stuff and put it on the shelf and take the monitors away from it. So gonna do that and then get the Pis back up and going and start messing around with the 2 Pi 4s that I just have sitting on my desk doing absolutely nothing. And I got that Rig Pi too that I cobbled together with the software. I might play with that again, get that up on one of the monitors and see how well that works. Beyond that, yeah, and just trying to get the radios working. Been on FT8 like you guys have. Convinced me to get on the other night, so it's on.
That's not real ham radio.
Yeah, I know it's not real ham radio. But hey, people enjoy it, and I don't mind giving people cues and stuff like that, especially for people that are still trying to, get their worked all states or triple play or what have you, worked everything FT8, FT4. So 10-meter contest is this weekend, I think, right? So might get that online as well and run 10 meters this weekend. Hopefully the bands will open up. It's been kind of spotty.
They always do. It's a contest. They always open up. So.
Yeah, it's been spotty, but it did come up for the what was that? The CQ Worldwide or whatever that was just a few weeks ago. So hopefully enough people on there it'll spring to life and make some cues with that. But that's pretty much it here.
I've seen 20 meters drop out a couple of times over the last week or so. It's really weird to see that. Usually you can always count on 20 meters being open to pretty much everywhere, but not always. I don't know. Did that CME happen or is that still upcoming or what's the...
It's ongoing right now.
Got here. Yep.
Okay. Well, write it just in time for the 10-meter contest.
Well, hopefully it'll be at the bottom edge of the curve then, so...
Well, before we get to me, Don jumped in right in the middle up at the top of my screen. So what do you got going on, Don? You working on anything ham radio related?
Currently, currently I've got the HF rig running for Hamsci. They're prepping for the Southern Hemisphere eclipse that's coming up. It was like next week.
Yeah.
So they're having people record their audio on just below 10 megahertz and for a couple days beforehand. So of course, right, we get a big CME or whatever's coming in just to mess with the baseline data. But hey, it's all about science, right? So it's kind of interesting. So I don't think that I'll be necessarily doing much HF over the weekend, but it's kind of very interesting. Audio, 24 hours of audio only is 1.3 gigs. Right? Today we think that's just a rounding error than it is anything that anybody really cares about, but it's kind of funny to do that. And fun fact, WAV files have a maximum size of 4 gigs. So I've already learned that from this experiment, and I'm not even the one that's like looking at any of the data.
That's a byte limit, right? 4 gigs.
Yeah, it's a. What'd she say? There was a 32 bit something or other in there. Yeah. Yeah, it was funny. So you have to cut the file every once a day. Leaves it, plenty of headroom. Even if you left it for 2 days and forgot about it, you'd be fine.
Can I not use another lossless audio codec? Does it even have to be lossless?
I think they're doing it just so that everybody records at the same settings. Their webpage is pretty extensive as to going through the rig setup and the instructions to set up Audacity. So it was kind of interesting. I just hope that whatever I produce actually is helpful. That's the biggest thing, is I just don't want it to screw stuff up. That's normally how I do work.
Good. Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
That's pretty much how things go for me too. So, all right. So next, well, actually, I'm going clockwise, so that means that I'm last now. So, so Ted, what do you got going on other than being a famous baseballer?
Well, first of all, I'm trying to get this microphone so I got decent audio.
Sounds
Well,
good
it
now.
doesn't sound too bad right now.
Yeah, it's getting better.
Oh,
so-
okay. Okay, that's better. Other than that, I've got a couple new computers. Just been tweaking, getting everything set up the way I like it, and learning to hate System D.
Oh,
Other than that,
wow.
running a
You're
lot
just
of-
coming into that one?
I'm learning to hate it more and more. Other than that, a lot of FT8. That's about it.
Oh, fair enough. So what is it, if I might ask, about System D that you have chosen to hate?
Well, I'm going to have to do a little studying, I think. It's kind of hard to get my head around it right now. Can't seem
Yeah,
to.
one thing, if you're just doing something, go ahead, sorry.
I can't do things as easily as I used to.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty typical when you have to learn something else. The configuration language for System D is not that difficult, but there's a lot of different options available. And of course, it's not SysV, so it's just a matter of learning something different. And they're supposed to be sort of compatible with each other, even though they really aren't. But you could just use. I think we talked about a distribution not that long ago that deliberately got rid of System D and went back to SysV. I don't remember which distro that was, but it's a modern one that apparently doesn't like System D like you don't like System D, and they said, screw it, we're just going to go use SysV and call it good.
Evidently, the mic was easier to fix.
Yeah, probably. All right. Well, let's see. What do I have going on? I have nothing going on. Well, I have a Yaesu radio that's dead in the water, going back to Yaesu so they can sit on it for 7 days before they even look at it.
Try 7 weeks.
Well, they said it's a 7-day quarantine. I don't know. It's just what they do. I honestly think it's because they don't feel like working. But
it is the holidays.
We're also in the holiday season, which means your 7 days will turn
oh
into
no,
Christmas.
this
which-
way predated the holiday season. This whole
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, once they get it and the 7 days passes, it will be Christmas. So then they will be
Oh, yeah.
closed for Christmas and then New Year's. So maybe by my birthday in mid-January, you might have some information.
maybe so. But I don't know, like Tony, we both applied for the DR1X repeaters that they were selling off cheap because they're refurbs and they apparently have a warehouse full of them. So I'll be getting one of those here hopefully before too long, probably around Charles' birthday again. The way things are working out. I've been working a lot of FT8 because it's really easy for me to do since I work at home and my shack computer is right next to me. I can be pretty much half automated FT8 while I work, so it's really easy to do. Playing around with my IC7100, which is nice, trying to figure out why there's a certain repeater in the local area that can't hear me no matter what I do, and yet everyone else hears me just fine. So
PL tone.
No, it's not PL tone. I have the right PL tone. And I'm keying up the repeater. They say they can't, or what I keep getting is not hearing anything. But I'm clearly keying up the repeater. So either somebody's like gaslighting me or I don't know. But I'm pretty sure there's nothing wrong with my IC7100. At least I sure hope not. Other than that, not really much going on. Oh, except for the learning the bass guitar thing. So I don't know if I want to talk about that. I mean, I've literally been playing the bass guitar for 4 hours, and I feel like I have made some progress. So
You have made progress. I recognize some of the songs you're playing.
you should have recognized all of those songs.
I had shut doors between me and you. I was only hearing so much.
Except for that little piece of the one from Rage Against the Machine that Shelby taught me, and I don't even know that song, but he taught me a little bit of the bass riff, and it's very odd. But
it's Rage Against the Machine.
It is Rage Against the Machine, so take that for what it's worth. But anyway, yeah. So, but he only taught me three basic riffs before I left, and I can play 8 riffs now and one complete song. So when I show up for my next lesson, hopefully he'll be
I'm sure he
moderately
will be
impressed.
Yeah, because the original thing was we don't think he's going to practice. So
I know I practice quite a bit, but of course I learned the other songs from Tab. So he's going to ask me something about those songs, and I'll be like, I have no idea what he's just talking about. So I told him I wasn't going to do Tabs because I wanted to learn the theory and everything, and I will learn the theory, but I just wanted to get something under my belt. So that's what I got going on. So, all right, well, that's a pretty good start, I guess. So, Bill, do you got something you want to kind of lead us down a particular path here so we don't stall too much?
No. No, it's always cool to hear what everybody's working on and stuff like that, because obviously that's going to bleed into the new year, which is kind of what we talk about at the last episode of the year, which is what we think is going to be new and awesome in ham radio for 2021 and what's new and awesome in open source and Linux for 2021. So I guess we can start with ham radio and hoping that in 2021 we see a hamvention that actually occurs.
Well, Dara seems to think that it will, at least so far. So
they waited until like April this year before they called it off. Late April before they finally said no, we can do it.
Well, the thing is, they sent out to me something that has a bunch of waivers in it. So
what if you get sick? You're not going to hold.
Yeah, basically, it's kind of like if COVID's still a thing and you get sick, then whatever. So I really think they're trying to make hamvention happen one way or the other, and it would be nice if it did, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, are they going to require the people wear masks?
I would assume that if there's some sort of mandate in place, they would have to.
Yeah, I'd assume that we're going to be all in masks still.
Well, I mean, because there'll be outdoor spaces, so people, assuming they won't have to wear masks in outdoor spaces if they're properly physically distanced. But in the expo halls, of course, I would assume masking would be a thing. Well, if it's, if no one has the vaccine by then. I mean, we are talking mid-May, so who knows?
But the thing is, even in the flea market areas in the outdoor, it is packed with people.
Yeah.
So you're going to need a mask no matter where you go, because people are going to be inside your personal space there.
Well, people are inside your personal space at hamvention pretty much all the time.
No, that's what I'm saying, though.
Exactly.
Well, you're outside, so you don't have to wear a mask, because people are right on top of you outside as well. So
I don't know. I wish we could get people to be like the folks in Asia who understand that viruses happen, and when they walk out the door, they just throw a mask on because it's like they're outside. So but apparently around here it's an infringement on your constitutional rights. But whatever. We're not going to go down that road. So.
Well, in Asia, you also have a lot of particulate matter in the air too, so they're trying to help their breathing,
general air quality. Yeah.
Having been over there for an extended period of time, I can definitely see why they do that.
I understand that COVID has made the general air quality in China much better overall.
Apparently, it has made the air quality around the world better
because all the industries are shut down, and
industries are shut down. People aren't driving, so there's no air pollution.
Well, it's not that there's no air pollution, but it's better.
Yeah,
for sure.
Considerably better. Air pollution.
So yes, hamvention 2021 we'll hope is a thing. They've already canceled Hamcation, right? That one's a non-starter, right?
Yeah.
So if hamvention happens, we could probably assume that Huntsville will happen.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
That's August.
That one. Yeah, that happens afterwards. So I I don't know. So are we walking predictions, like amateur radio predictions? Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah, I had a couple of like bullet points on it. So Hamvention was one bullet point. The other bullet point is digital radio. What do we think is going to happen with M17? And are we going to see any mass exodus from any of the other technologies, or are they just going to continue to grow at their current rate?
Okay, well, I'll give you my thoughts on that in 2 short sentences. We'll see considerable development in M17, and it will be a product and probably something fledged out enough to be for sale. And it will be one of the many technologies because no one's given up anything. So that's my thoughts on it there in a nutshell.
What do you think, Tony?
Read about it a little bit, not a lot, but I think it's going to go somewhere. All the hotspots and from various companies. I mean, everyone's making a MMDVM style. I'll just use that hotspot, these days. So that's not going anywhere because it's one of those things you can spend $100 and you got that in the HT and you can talk around the world on DMR or whatever. So that's not going anywhere anytime soon. So the M17 is just another step on top of that. So I see no reason why it would not to develop as the other protocol.
Yeah. I'm just wondering. Sorry.
Well, I mean, we could probably take a cue from FreeDV because Codec 2 is getting wider adoption. It's being used in more platforms, and of course, it'll be used in M17. But it hasn't killed anything. So,
yeah, like most technologies, it just continues to add to the pile of stuff that you can get into, and
because no one can decide on a standard because Yaesu wants their standard, ICOM wants their standard, so on and so forth. So,
yeah.
Vendor lock-in is what I believe they call it.
Well, there is no specific vendor lock-in with, I guess, any of those except for, I guess Fusion's still only Yaesu.
Fusion is still only Yaesu, and there's only one Kenwood. Yeah, there's one Kenwood other than the ICOMs that does D-Star. So, well, you have the dongles, I guess. So you can. Yeah. There are other platforms that use the ambi decoder, and that's a standard, but it's still proprietary.
It's a hardware standard.
Yeah.
Any thoughts?
So, any thoughts from the peanut gallery on M17 and digital modes? Anyone want to weigh in? Anyone still here?
No chunks.
Yeah, no chunks. I think Don's probably elbow deep in a switch swap.
So, I think he's done. He's walking.
Oh, he's walking.
So he's just listening.
Walking. After midnight.
He's in his car.
I don't think. I think it's what you said, right? M17 is just going to be another standard. That's the beauty about standards. You can have 1,000 of them. But yeah, I mean, nobody. It's only Kenwood has produced another adopted D-Star, and I mean, come on, that was created by the Japanese version of the Jara, right? Their version of the ARL.
Yeah.
It was a Japanese standard, and Yaesu said, screw you guys, we're gonna go do our own thing anyways. So that's the beauty. Everybody can have a standard.
Cool. Yeah, well, DMR is not even an amateur radio standard, and the amateur radio just said, "Yeah, we'll take that."
Yeah, yeah.
Neither was P25.
Yeah,
neither was P25 or NXT.
They borrowed from Motorola.
Pilfered. I mean, borrowed. Yeah.
Steve Gates, same thing. Bill Gates, same thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. So let's see, what other thing?
One thing I would say about that, though, and it's something I've said before, is I would love to see, even if all these standards continue to exist, it would be nice to have better interoperability. You can have your standards, but allow them to interoperate, for crying out loud. I mean,
Yeah, make it easier to bridge the networks and stuff like that. I mean, especially since it's all out there in the IP space, and should just be able to click from one to the other.
Absolutely.
I think I'd make everything better, obviously, because everything would work with everything, and then everybody could pick their own. They like this one better, and if the audio has to get remuxed or whatever, or repackaged to go out to the different codec, then that way.
Right.
But yeah, so we got some new radios too coming out, and some new radios that just came out. Obviously, we have 705, which is a new ICOM radio. That's kind of neat.
Waste of money.
Yeah,
Waste of money.
Eh,
Waste of money.
DC to daylight and a little tiny package.
no, it saves you money over buying an L-craft and everything that goes with it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
ICOM. I'm going to tell you right now. ICOM. You need to put out an IC 7200. That is the 7100 with the screen from the 705. There we go. I said it.
Well, I wouldn't doubt that to take the 705 into a 100-watt rig, full barefoot power. It's got to be like the next natural progression, maybe like a snap-on addition to it or something like that you could plug in like an amplifier or something. And because they got a nice package for that, and obviously you can desk mount that little tiny rig and stuff like that. And people obviously, with the KX3 and the KX2, they are people using those as base stations with amplifiers. So it's not unheard of. We just need an amplifier that does, all the bands that it's got. So, you could still split it and then run 2 amps, but,
Is the 705 160 to 70 centimeter?
Correct, yes. So, yeah, you could
With
split
no
it
tuner.
out. No tuner, yeah.
No tuner, right? Well, the 7100 doesn't have a tuner either. So
No, they want to sell the accessories, so.
well, of course they do. Yeah, upselling, vendor lock-in, upselling. We're gonna have a marketing talk.
Yeah, and I see Yeager's got a. Go ahead.
As if they had put a duplexer in that thing, like the satellite guys would have bought them up like hotcakes, but I don't know, they didn't.
Yeah, it's just one antenna port, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, even like the Kenwood D72, I mean, it's just an FM handy talkie, but that's full dual for the most part. I didn't like the operation of it, but you can operate it full duplex. But yeah, like it's what I don't know. There's so few 2 meter 70 centimeter all band radios out there, especially small ones. It's at this point it's pretty much the 705 and the 818. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and I mean, arguably the 7100 is kind of tiny too. So
Small but
Yeah,
heavy.
That's what I use for satellites. It's a beast. She's heavy.
It is. Yeah, form factor is pretty good, but it is heavy.
yeah, we have let's see, another new rig coming out is there's a Yaesu FT 10D or something like that coming out. Their new, slightly smaller version of their SDR driven rig, like the FT 100DX or whatever that one is. Slightly cheaper, but still very expensive for an HF 6 meter only rig. I think it's coming out at like $1,800 or something like that. So we'll see how that one does. Lots of new little rigs in the QRP space. Saw the QCX Mini just came out. That one's making the rounds. So people still interested in QRP stuff. So that's kind of interesting. That'll probably continue to grow into 2021. We'll probably see another ballooning of QRP work. Yay! Just in time for the sunspot cycle to slowly swing up and make those QRP rigs shine.
It's on the way up. I've been watching one of the other YouTubes I watch is Tamitha Skov, the space weather woman.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. Watch her a lot. So it's definitely on the upswing. That's where those, I guess it was a coronal mass ejection and a solar storm that came like back to back. And I forget which one was supposed to hit first, like yesterday. But so that's why it's noisy. But after that, it should get better.
Yeah, well, with the Aurora coming so far south too, it should be some Aurora rural propagation.
Propagation.
Propagation on on 6 meters and 10 meters and stuff like that. That's always kind of fun to work too, because you hear that nice fluttery sound. It doesn't work well for FT8 and stuff like that, I'm assuming, but CW and voice, you can definitely work some contacts with that and take advantage of that kind of propagation. You just basically point your antennas north and you get some really weird propagation going on.
I'll just throw this. I was drinking this here, but I'm about to change it up. So
okay.
we talked about this before. So
Not on the show though. We haven't mentioned on the show what everybody's drinking. So you started off there with what, Russ?
That's a Jack Daniel's single barrel proof, which is probably one of the few Jack Daniels that I actually drink. This is bottled at
137.
No, mine's 64.95.
So
130, 129.9.
Yeah.
So 129.9 proof. I mean, so that's up there in the stratosphere, ionosphere, troposphere. So one of those, you know.
We'll call it D layer.
What are you drinking, Cheryl?
Rum and Coke, I think.
Yeah, you had a little bit of rum, a little bit of vanilla rum, and some Coke. So
there you go. Tony, you're on the larceny, right?
Yeah, larceny, small batch.
Just the regular larceny?
Regular old larceny.
Yep.
Yummy. I'm just doing some red wine. Seamy red wine. Whatever the Costco had on sale, something like that. I don't know.
I'm gonna open my batch. I think this is batch 12. I'm gonna open this here. This is I think this is batch 12 of Stag Junior, and it's, as you can see, it is unopened. So I'm gonna open this right now.
Sweet. Don or Ted, you guys drinking anything you want to share?
Don working, right?
No, I'm getting some water and I'm going to bed. I've got to be back in the office at 4
Ugh.
for more maintenance. So
yeah, I did that on Monday. I had to be there at 3:30. Yeah.
ugh. So I'm going to say, you guys have a great night.
Hi, Don.
Talk to
Take
you
care.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
See you, Don.
Ted, you drinking anything with that microphone over there?
See you, Don. Late.
It's a delay of the internet, right?
Yeah, big old snifter of somebody's VSOP.
There you go.
Oh,
Okay.
a little brandy. There you go. Ooh, nice pop too.
Yeah.
We have getting ready to bust out a bottle of wine.
There you go. Get the wine.
Could be a bunch of winos here.
Yeah. So I haven't had the batch 12 of this. I've had the batch 11, but this is batch 12. This one's even higher proof than the
Yeah,
than the Jack. It's 132.3.
Wow.
So let's enjoy a little pour of that.
And if it doesn't taste good, you can always use it as a parts cleaner.
Well, my last bottle of Stag Junior was one of my favorite bottles ever. So let's see how this one is.
If he doesn't like stuff, I typically steal it for cooking with or to drink myself.
I tell you what, the nose is 132 proof caramel.
Caramel and booze.
It tastes like straight up like, you know, those little Brock's caramel square things you can buy. Like,
There's a bag in the kitchen.
Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly what it smells like.
Wow.
And 132 proof.
See what it tastes like. He's going in for the drink.
Didn't come out the nose.
A little bit of rye in there, but it's like rye. It's like a licoricey caramel. It's really good.
Licorice
really
and
good.
caramel.
Yep.
I don't smell licorice.
No,
I
I
did
didn't. I
smell-
didn't
I
smell
did
it either
smell the
until I
caramel.
tasted it. But there's definitely rye in there, so it's got that little licorice, little caramel. Well, a lot of caramel. And I tell you what, it drinks. It drinks the same as like a 40 or an 80 proof off the bottom shelf.
Wow, that's pretty
Don't
good.
say the bottom shelf, because that's not a bottom shelf.
No. I said it drinks like an 80 proof. The proof doesn't hit you. It's not like, you know what I mean. It's not like alcohol forward. That's good.
So there's your whiskey review for the end of the year.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Yep, I hit you with all the details. 132.3 proof, and it's good. There you go. That's all you need to know.
That's one of my reviews.
Yeah.
It's good. You like it? Yeah, it's great.
If you can find it, batch 12 may not be available much anymore because I think they're on to batch 13 or 14 now, and it tends to be one of the more unobtainium whiskeys. But if you can find it, it's not terribly expensive. It's like $55. So,
Oh, that's not bad.
nope, not for what it is.
So
All right, you got any more topics you want to hit us with?
well, I was talk about whiskey one more. So I did have that.
Good.
I did have that Basil Hayden, and I kind of get what you're talking about. I mean, maybe that's it. I mean, it smells good, but like when you drink it, it doesn't really taste like anything. It's kind of peculiar. Yeah. It's like, okay, I know I'm drinking whiskey, but like it has no, I don't know. It's just weird. It's like I thought I had COVID for a minute. You know, I thought I was like, you know, it's just really. I can see why you said it's not interesting. It's it really is. It's not interesting. It's still good to drink, but it's just there's nothing there. I don't know. There's just nothing that stands out when you drink it.
It is made to have mass appeal. It is literally designed to have mass appeal. And for me, what that means in a whiskey is anyone could pick it up and drink it, which means it basically has to taste like nothing. It has to be like the whiskey equivalent of PBR. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could see that for sure. Yeah. It's like something close to water, right?
Right. And the problem with that, there's no problem with that. It's okay to put out a whiskey that everyone's going to drink. That's fine. But they're charging like $38 a bottle for this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can buy a whole lot more flavorful, better whiskey for less money. So
yeah, I mistakenly had some dry fly after I had that last night, and I was like, "Whoa, hey, this is so much flavor." Yeah, it's a slightly higher proof, and I was like, "Wow, this is just weird having something different right after that," because it had pretty much a lack of flavor, I guess.
Yeah,
complexity.
Yeah, no complexity.
Yeah, I mean, some whiskeys aren't complex, but they still have decent flavor. Basil Hayden isn't one of those.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say it didn't taste bad. I mean, it just didn't taste like anything.
No, exactly.
But it's just.
But it's a mixer for twice the price. I mean, it's just, I'm glad you got it as a gift because now you can taste it, you can see what it's like, and never buy it again.
Yeah, I don't have to do that again, right?
Right.
But I have a friend that swears by it, and he says, "Oh, Basil Hayden, it's the greatest stuff." And I'm like, "Okay, whatever. It's not what I hear, but I'll try it."
Remember Sterling? Sterling said it was his favorite.
Yeah,
that's right. His favorite as well. That's funny. Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yep. So, I mean, there's a place for everything. There are obviously quite a few Basil Hayden drinkers out there. I'm not one of them, and obviously, Bill, you're not going to be one of them either. But you know,
no, I mean, I wouldn't turn my nose away from it if it was given to me for free. You know,
exactly.
I'll drink some pretty bad stuff for that.
So Cheryl has her bottle of wine, so she can talk about her wine now.
Yeah, what do you got?
I have a bottle of Moscato de Missouri from Joller Creek Winery in Weston. Well, no, not Weston.
Get it right up there close. There you go.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That's a little muskrat right there on the label. And it's
kid
a Moscato.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, what is it, like a fizzy white wine or something?
No, this
It's
is
not
this
fizzy,
is not
it's
a
just
sparkling
super-
Moscato.
yeah,
It's just a regular
It's
one.
just it's
So it's sweet.
super sweet.
It's sweet.
Yes,
Yeah.
and there's my wine glass from last Christmas with the naughty pour.
That looks like kind of like one of the Weight Watcher glasses they give you, where the nice line is the Weight Watchers portion, and then anything above that is
Yeah.
against
she
the
didn't pick
rules.
She didn't pick the one that we got for Thanksgiving that says "Gobble till you wobble."
Yeah. I figured I would get the Christmas one. So, but no, this is the winery that we have a membership to. $35 a month. We get for that $35, we get 2 bottles of wine, which are normally $19-ish a piece. And then not every month, but most every month, they have some sort of activity. Like in December, why we're supposed to go up there on Saturday, they're having a wine and holiday cookie pairing.
Oh,
Last
nice.
month it was Thanksgiving desserts, right?
Yeah, it was like Thanksgiving desserts.
Yeah,
They
it
had like
was-
pecan pie and pumpkin pie and
And
stuff like that.
cheesecake and
Wine.
things like that. Yeah.
Plus, we get 6 free tastings. We get to do all their events. They have hay rides and
Yeah,
Easter egg hunts and blah blah blah. You get to do all of that for free, and it's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
this
that's awesome.
Saturday we're supposed to do the cookie pairing and a hay ride. I can't get on the hay wagon.
Oops.
So a friend of ours that lives here is going with us. She and her mom are. Her mom is disabled as well. So her mom and I are going to stand by and enjoy our spiked cider while Angel and Russ go on the hay ride.
Well, we enjoy our spike cider.
Yeah, well, they enjoy their spiked cider going through the hay ride. The cool thing about the winery is they're a green winery. So their grass is controlled by goats and sheep. Their bugs are controlled by chickens. What else do they have up there? Cats, dogs. Yeah. But they have 2 Anatolian shepherds, white ones, Vino and Vidal. And they have come to know that we bring them dog biscuits. So every time we hit the tent, they're like, "Ooh, you're here." So yeah, it's fun. But and I think January they normally do a tank tasting of the Missouri grape is the Norton grape. And they do a tank tasting, and I guess whatever tank gets the most votes is what version of Norton they bottle for that year. But because of COVID, their building is closed. Everybody's outside in a tent. So they are doing a tailgate party, basically, since they're 25 miles from the Chiefs Stadium. So they're encouraging everybody to dress up in their jerseys and stuff and do a tailgate party. And they're going to be pairing wines with appetizers that you typically find at a Super Bowl party or something. They've got Easter stuff. They have an Easter egg hunt.
We don't need to make this a commercial for
No, I
Dallas
know.
But
This episode
But
is
they
brought to
do-
you by.
Yeah, exactly.
Brought to you by Charlotte Creek
Right.
Winery.
No, but it's a cool winery the way they do everything.
It is
So-
very cool. And they also the original owners had a big house there on the property because they had house, winery, vineyards, the whole deal. And then they sold the winery and left.
So it's
So the people who moved in and bought the winery don't live in the house. It's a Verbo.
Oh, okay.
So you can actually rent the house and stay at the winery and everything. It's pretty cool.
That is kind of cool.
They actually they're not their building is accessible, but how their tents are set up now are not. But they have gone truly out of their way to make it accessible for me. They're like, no, drive through the vineyard to get to the tent. We don't care. We're like, all right, whatever. So, and
I can assure you they're not going to watch this unless you point it out to them. So
no, I'm not. But I'm just saying that they've gone out of their way to make it, working for me.
They have.
So, because they'll tell Russ, oh yeah, drive around the building and go park, up in the vineyard, and the tent is right there. So, yeah, it's definitely a cool winery. So there's several other wineries in the area, and there's one in an old school building, like out of the 40s or 50s. Now they do have a whiskey bar in there.
They have a
or-
really nice whiskey
Yeah.
bar, and their pours are half as much as anyone else. That's my favorite kind of whiskey bar.
yeah. Russ got a major education a couple weeks ago when we went to Tulsa, because one of the Irish restaurants we like to eat at, he was like, bring me your menu and let me see if there's any Irish whiskey or any whiskey at all that you guys have that I haven't tried yet. And they brought it out. A 1 ounce pour on something was $58 or something.
Oh, they had higher ones.
Oh yeah, and he was like, no, the whole bottle was like 75. No. I was like, just get it. He's like, no. So,
You won't enjoy it that much.
They wanted like 10 or $12 or something for a pour of monkey shoulder, which is a widely available blended scotch. It costs like $32 for a bottle. I mean, people are just out of their minds. But
we have a friend that works as a bartender, or did work as a bartender, and he said that average markup, even on your run-of-the-mill bar, is 500%.
500%, but this was more like 1,000%, so or more.
Yeah, well, especially since it's a 1 ounce pour.
Yeah.
So,
And those bottles have a lot of dust on the top, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, exactly.
their bar was full of people.
Their bar is full of people, and those people are all drinking Guinness, I can assure you.
Yeah,
That's okay.
I don't know how much a bottle of Guinness was there. I mean, the Guinness and pear cider thing that I usually order is like $7, so
that's
pretty typical.
Yeah, that's not bad. Like a black and tan or something.
I mean,
like
we love the restaurant, but we don't drink there.
that.
they are super.
Yeah. All right, what else you got, Bill? Let's go down a different road here.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about Linux and open source.
All right, let's do that.
Let's do that. So we see just recently, we have Red Hat Enterprise Linux doing something naughty to CentOS. Does this affect you at all?
No.
Heard they did some kind of, let's do air quotes here, a reset on CentOS, which has gotten a bunch of people up in a big roar, and wonder what that's going to do to people using CentOS out there in the wild.
Funny you bring that up.
What does that mean? I have not seen.
Yeah,
that,
I was wondering what
what
this
does it
meant.
mean?
So
Sounds like Tony has something on that. Tony, what do you got?
Okay, go for it.
Yeah. At our shop here, I think we had 5 systems running it, and there was a determination that they must be upgraded immediately. And Linux was not where it was upgraded to. It was to Windows 10 for that very reason.
Oh.
So they decided the IA compliance wasn't there, and the thou shalt not. It's one of those things that normally, if they say, okay, you need to stop using this, 6 months later you stop using it. This was like 6 days later.
Oh,
So it was
This came from Red
it was
Hat.
high priority.
From Red Hat, yeah.
Both.
Yeah.
So what about Scientific? Is it under the same umbrella?
I'm not sure if that's affected or not. I haven't read through all the details and whatnot. There have been several podcasts that I haven't quite listened to on the entirety of the topic. Obviously, I'm not an expert at it because I don't use either product anywhere. So, but I know it's not good for the longevity of people using CentOS, and obviously people are moving away from it rapidly, and hopefully not to Windows. That's horrible.
What just out of curiosity, I got to change the topic completely here right now. Bill, what's the resolution on your camera?
1080p.
Yeah, 1080.
It's 1080p.
because it's like super
Because you look like you're in front of a green screen.
I'm not. Well, I do have
No,
lights.
I know you're not.
I do have lights
are
on,
you
so like I have a couple of bright lights right on me, so and that always helps any camera look.
It's super crisp though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it literally looks like you're in front of a green screen. So.
That's the effect I was going for.
I'm not sure why you would green screen that particular background.
Yeah. What kind of shitty background do you have here? Looks like you're in a
shitty
garage or
blonde
something.
background, you know.
No, it's amazing what lights can do.
Blanket, you know.
It's really amazing what lighting can do.
Yeah.
I do have a green screen down here just to the south of the lights. But I haven't got that set up yet, but that's the idea. These lights are actually for the green screen to add additional lighting on front. So if I do the videos, hopefully I will, and you'll probably see I'll have everything all set up for that. So I'll be floating in front of my PC. But yeah, so that's a big thing that's going on right now as we speak. Obviously, we talked about on the last show, if not, I think it was the last show, short topic show. We talked about Susie or Seuss and Rancher doing a merger. So that's really good for that, because I noticed not very long ago a Seuss thing came out about their container system. So it kind of made sense when that Rancher deal kind of came together, and I was gonna share that on one of the episodes, and then it just kind of fell off my radar. So who knows? A lot of people might move to Seuss for their enterprise stuff. So it would probably be interesting
for their Kubernetes.
Yeah, they have their own Kubernetes stuff, but even just for their host OS and stuff like that, for the workloads that the CentOS is currently running for people. What else do we got? Is it going to be the year of the desktop, huh? Every year
since 2006 has been the year of the Linux desktop. So
every year. So more and more people are using it, obviously, especially with the conversion that Apple's doing with going to ARM Macs. Some people are really happy with the switch, and the software seems somewhat performant. And I guess this time around's implementation of Rosetta 2.0 or whatever they're calling it, Rosetta 2, for doing the emulation is actually not bad for those people that live through the PowerPC to Intel architecture move. This one is slightly less painful, and it does seem that that there is some collaboration there that is slowly kind of making out into the public eye of how Microsoft also helped that occur. So it seems to be a lot of collaboration getting the ARM platforms to actually work properly and perform it for all the major vendors. So we probably see some definite improvements to that. I see people are taking on the task of getting Linux fully operational on the M1. Obviously, we're going to see some new ARM processors from Apple over the coming months here for their Mac Pros and their MacBook Pros and stuff like that. It's for the higher end users that need more cores and more memory and stuff like that. So that'll be interesting to see those come out, and whether or not we'll have Linux running on those by then. Who knows?
What do you think the time frame for Linux on the M1 is?
I would say probably by first quarter next year that there's definitely going to be something out
that soon. I mean, okay, let me put it this way: reasonable, mostly bug-free Linux on the M1.
Yeah, is there anything that's a bug-free Linux?
I said mostly. Mostly bug-free.
Well, I would think in general, like the tough parts are really that GPU. I think getting it on the processor is probably not that complex. And then getting everything signed so you could actually install it, because we all know that that's the issue, is the kernel needs to be signed in order to go onto the BIOS chip or whatever the heck. Prevents unsigned kernels and stuff like that from actually getting loaded. But I don't know. I don't see it being that long. A lot of people are interested in it, so anytime there's something that interests a lot of people and there's money being thrown at it, it'll happen in short order. We obviously already have ARM stuff working in Linux perfectly fine. Again, it's just the complexity and the setup of the GPU and stuff that makes it a little bit more interesting, because you got to deal with running acceleration and stuff like that for the UI and everything else through the GPU.
Which it kind of brings up Ubuntu for the ARM64, which is kind of nice because it seems to be, to use the word you've been using, performant. It seems to be pretty well architected to run on the Pis and things, single board computers. Seems to be pretty good.
Yeah, it's constantly improving, and even the people that are working on it are saying that it's not perfect yet. It's definitely got a way to go, but it's leaps and bounds better. And so hopefully, as that continues to improve, everything just kind of will come together in this just big happy space that
Yeah.
everything will just work, which is really what everybody wants, is it just to be functional. So I just saw news
I'll be
again.
using it'll all be Ubuntu on the M1 with M17, and no one will have anything else.
I don't know about that, but yeah. But definitely, we'll see it definitely from like the bigger vendors and stuff like that, because they have a vested interest in being on as many platforms as possible. There's just news out today about Fuchsia, Google's OS. So that's kind of coming out in the wild again. Yeah, people thought it was a myth for a while, and then it was like, oh yeah, it's there, and kind of play with it. But I think there's going to be some rapid movement there as well from Google, and what they're doing with Chromebooks and stuff like that, and whether Fuchsia will be the new Chrome OS, or who knows, full blown PC OS for everything. They have a lot of market coverage, so if the government doesn't break them all down into little tiny pieces and change the way they all do business.
So what about the GNU herd? What's the latest dope on the GNU herd?
Oh, what is that? Isn't that the GNU herd? Isn't that based on NT3 or something? Yeah, I have no idea.
Like the thing. No one has any idea. There's only one person who knows anything about GNU herd. So
yeah,
and he's not talking.
I think the time has left that one behind.
I think you may be right.
So what else we got for well, gosh, let's talk about application space. OBS Studio. Hey, this thing is getting awesome. Unless you do fancy audio stuff, and you have to play around with it to get it working the way you want it to. But yeah, we watched. You saw that too. Wimpy did a presentation on how he's got OBS set up and the work that they're doing with OBS Studio in the Snap package, where they're pre-packaging a bunch of useful plugins for your OBS setup. And it was so convincing, in fact, that I uninstalled the OBS Studio from the repo that I had on my Ubuntu box and installed the Snap package just to play around with it. And I mean, you can definitely install it from the repo and not deal with snaps, and then download all the plugins and get those all installed. But it is nice that they're packaging kind of like a ready to go solution out of the box in that Snap. So regardless
I'm still not sold on Snap's Flatpak Snap. It is yet. I'm not.
Yeah.
They seem bulky to me, and not very CPU friendly.
I haven't really noticed that. I've been using Snaps for quite a while now on both Fedora and on Ubuntu, and I haven't really noticed any oddities or weird issues, beyond the occasional just GUI look and feel not quite being exactly the same. But that has drastically improved over the past year for sure. I mean, Discord on my boxes are always installed via Snap. That works pretty fine. I think early on it used to crap out when it would do an update. Software thought it had an update and it didn't get a deb package yet, or didn't get the Snap update, and it would explode if you click the update button inside the app itself. And I haven't had that happen at all in the last year and a half with it. So that was only early on, I would assume, if you look at the timeline for Snap. So that was like a early 2019 issue that I had. Other than that, yeah, I mean, OBS runs fine. I don't notice, with the CPU monitor, it runs exactly the same usage that it did under the regular deb package on Ubuntu, at least on this box. And it's not a stellar power horse, it's got a lot of RAM and it's an i7, but it's also 8 years old at this point, so not quite the powerhouse. Doesn't have a good graphics card, so it can't do any fancy encoding with it. So it's all processor bound. Fortunately, it's a real i7 that's in the Dell Precision workstation laptop. So it can.
Yeah, see, I'm still working with my Core 2 Duos, and I think that's probably where the performance is. So.
Well, yeah, you can't be on a 12 or 15-year-old box and expect it to be perfect. You got other issues there. You probably can't even load certain web pages because it's got so much crap on it. or dare I say, grid tracker. Let's just put everything in Node and deliver it via Electron and explode your desktop. So, oh, what am I getting? Stuff popping up on my screen here. That's okay. I don't think it goes out on the stream. But applications. Let's talk about another app, LibreOffice. Wow, that's getting way better. Version 7, leaps and bounds above version 6 performance-wise. If I were to
not for me.
No, except for you, yeah. You don't even notice the difference.
No, I do not notice the difference. Not at all. In fact, it's slower than 6.
Yeah. Well, that's not the case on a more normal machine. Something made this decade.
One of these days I'm going to have a workstation made this decade. So
yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, LibreOffice has been getting better and better anyway in general. And in fact, on this box that I'm on right now, I only have LibreOffice. I didn't even bother putting Microsoft Office, and this is a Windows box. Oh my God, so sorry. But it runs really well, and it even runs stuff with macro enabled spreadsheets, which me dealing with a lot of stuff in the laboratory business and stuff like that. There's tons and tons of spreadsheets out there with macros, and it runs it just fine, including database connections and whatnot. So I'm always impressed every time I just load up something and execute it, and it all works. And it's quite impressive that they've come so far. And I still don't have to learn the OOOML or whatever the heck their built-in language processor for doing all the coding stuff in the background. It actually still runs VBA out of the box, which is either sad or excellent depending upon your viewpoint of it working. What are some other apps you guys use that you've seen improvements on?
Everything on my computer runs like crap. It doesn't matter. So,
well, troubleshooting 101 tells you where the problem lies.
Well, we got apps that we use all the time, like Audacity. That's been getting upgrades quite regularly. I think they're up to 2.3 point something now. That always works really well. I've never had any problems with Audacity, even the old versions. But it's nice to see the newer versions. Obviously, now we don't have the MP3, having to have the separate MP3 encoder for doing that anymore, because that's gone past its time limit, I think. So that's
I think when we first started the show, we were talking about MP3 licensing issue. We no longer have to talk about that. So.
Yeah. So that's really nice. A lot of the video editors are getting better and better. I still can't quite run OpenShot with any luck. Although it's touted like it's
live.
Yeah, I still use KDN Live, and that works beautifully, and that runs Windows, it runs fine, and Linux, it runs fine, and even on the Crapintosh over here, it runs fine. So that's really good. GIMP, again, has gotten faster and faster. Although my son says his GIMP like loads really slow, when you first get it on. And I loaded it on both of my machines, and it was like I double click and it's like just boom, up, it's up. His is still like
The only
running
thing
the
is-
splash screen.
The only thing that slows down a game for me is font registration, because like I have like 6 million fonts in my
Yeah.
and that doesn't slow it down. But once it's fired up, I mean, yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
And I've been using GIMP for a long time now, and I've tried to compare it to like Adobe's like workflow, for doing image editing, and just GIMP seems to just make a whole lot more sense. But
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I used to use Photoshop all the time, and some of the tools, are slightly easier to use inside of Photoshop, and I guess photo elements and stuff like that. But it's getting better and better and better, and it's almost like I can't find a reason to not use GIMP. But it's always on every machine I have. Doesn't matter what OS it's running. Definitely have GIMP installed. And the font loading thing is always an issue. The same thing in Windows. The more fonts you have, the slower things are going to be when you actually use fonts and go in between fonts and switch fonts, and because it has to try to render them all in the drop down box so you can see previews of everything.
Yep.
I don't know if that's ever going to get any better. I mean, obviously, the computers get faster and faster, but people tend to add more and more fonts. So it just kind of
Unless
clobbers.
they like redesign TTF or OTF, probably not.
Yeah, I guess it's something that, we're just allowing the progression of computer speed to kind of just eat, much like we allow websites to get bigger and bigger because, we have so much bandwidth now. Yeah, I can, deliver 500-600 megs out, for a page load.
Yeah, because it's like got 17 words on it, but it's 40K of code and JavaScript and CSS.
Yeah. And I don't see how, like, having these splash videos that are on website landing pages is like
Flash. Ooh.
not Flash, but like, you have like the moving image that's kind of like a background layer of the web page.
Right.
They kind of embed a video in it. Now, I just don't see how that's any different than having blinky text and scrolling text. It's like it's slightly obnoxious.
GeoCities 3.0. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a new way to make your site look like ass. I don't know. It looks cute, but until you have to load that page several times, and every time you hit the home page, it then you watch your system and that 100th Chrome tab that you have open bring your system down to a crawl. And then if you're running a system that doesn't have very good graphics acceleration, then it really slows down to a crawl. Yeah. Yeah, your system. Yeah, exactly. It's already at a crawl. You can't even open up a console without it taking an hour or so, right?
I'm using NVIDIA drivers that are so legacy. Even NVIDIA is like, what the hell are you running?
What? We don't even have that one anymore. What the hell is that?
We haven't seen that in 20 years.
Yeah, it's a 940 MX. What the hell is that?
I was running FX 5200s for the longest time.
Oh, geez. Yeah.
Yep.
So,
I still have FX 5200s in a couple of machines here because they were the first machines I had that had S-video connector in them, and I still use that.
S video.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just got some vomit in my mouth. Photo editing. What else we got with photo editing? Darktable. Is that right? Is that the open source one?
Yep.
Yeah, Darktable. That's pretty awesome for doing raw image edits and stuff like that. Just listened to a podcast not too long ago where a guy was talking about his entire workflow. He's a photographer and all the tools that he uses. And he's like been a diehard Linux user for, I don't know, the last 15, 20 years, and trying to do everything he can inside of Linux with the video image editing tools and whatnot. And he says, now it's like everything. There's nothing I need anywhere else. I can do everything that I need directly in Linux because all the tooling is so good. And I have to agree. I mean, all the stuff I've messed with, and I only do raw edits once in a while. Yeah, it's just amazing what is available, and obviously, it's just the stuff's going to continue to improve, and more people using it, more feedback. Obviously, you're going to get more and more performance and more features. So,
Cool.
gosh, distro news. Any distro news? Can't think of anything that is beyond the Pipewire thing coming to Fedora 34 possibly. Nothing else really interests me terribly. I'm semi excited about doing the Fedora 33 install on this box, doing a full Btrfs and everything else, just because I haven't messed with that.
File systems are so boring.
Everything's a file
I mean,
system.
you can't make a file system sexy. I'm sorry, you just can't.
Yeah, I guess not. As long as it doesn't die like when it's writing or something like that, it's probably nobody gives a crap.
Well, I know people are like big hot on XFS and everything for the snapshotting and duplication and dedupe and replication and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, that's kind of your bag. It's a great thing, but again, still not sexy.
Yeah. Now we have file systems. We have ZFS as well as now.
Sorry, did I say XFS? I meant ZFS. Sorry.
Yeah. I've used XFS before.
I've had much whiskey.
More 130 proof, right?
and yeah, she's feeding me wine now too. So
Feeding you wine.
You're feeding me. Yeah.
That's not a good mix, right? Wine and liquor.
We mix booze around here all the time.
Because I can never remember the liquor before beer before liquor. I can't remember which one is the way that's supposed to go. So
we never drink beer, so there you go.
Well, yeah.
It's very.
Yeah, I know with beer it's like have no fear or something. I can't remember.
But is it liquor before beer?
Have beer no before liquor, never sicker.
There you go.
Beer before liquor, never sicker. Okay.
Yeah.
As long as you finish the night with like a liter of water, you're probably okay.
Yeah, which I always do. I always drink a ton of water. So, yeah, pro tip: drink water.
Drink water, especially at the end.
Especially at the end, yes.
The thing is, I've had
at the point where you feel like you can't drink anything else, that's when you need the water.
I've had people go with terrible hangovers, so drink some water. Oh no, I can't do that. Yeah, well, you would wake up with a hangover if you drink some water.
Yeah, the worst case with drinking water at the end is that you'll probably have to get up and pee in the middle of the night a couple times.
As long as you don't pee on the coffee table or the closet, you're good.
Or in the bed.
Yeah, don't pee in the bed.
Yeah, don't do that.
No peeing in the bed. So I guess that's all the topics that I had listed as semi relevant to the end of year podcast. Can you guys think of anything off the top of your head?
No, I think we've gone quite enough as far as time and everything. I think I would just throw it out there and see if anyone has any predictions about anything they want to make for 2021, whether it be, technology related, amateur radio related, politics related. It doesn't matter. If you got some prediction you want to make about the year 2021, let's hear it.
You're up, Tony.
Yeah, 2021. Wow, that's you're going to obviously say that it's not going to be like 2020 was. It's not humanly possible or whatever.
Let's just hope it's not worse.
That would depend on your definition of worse.
Well, fair enough. Here's something. You've been following SpaceX a lot. Give us a prediction about SpaceX.
First prediction: their stock's going to double before April of next year. Second, they're going to probably go orbital before April of next year.
Okay.
Third, they're probably going to crash at least twice more.
There's definitely some crash and burns in there, some RUDs, right?
Yes. Rapid unattended disassembly. That's a great term. But the whole thing was, if that happened, when and where it did, that was a perfect flight and then some. So if you haven't watched that, I'll say this: if you haven't gone to you haven't seen the actual the launch, belly flop, landing, we'll call it. If you haven't seen it, it is something you've got to see. It's just
Well, it came down nice and smooth. It got right to the ground and it blew up.
yeah. Well, it the landing legs didn't deploy. Why? Who knows? I'm sure Elon will have some off the wall explanation in a month or so. But the landing legs didn't deploy, but they didn't have enough pressure in the containment vessel that feeds the engines when they relight is in the nose cone. So it's way up top, and they didn't have enough pressure in it. That's why you saw the green flames and the bad mixture. So that's why they didn't have the thrust to stop it from falling and then touch down. So it a higher rate of descent than they wanted, and that's why it was the spectacular fireball, which was still good. I mean, come on, it's impressive.
It suffered from the same cement poisoning that happens when you jump off a building. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, basically. But the fact that you flew 150 meters tall, 9 meters wide, so 30-ish feet wide.
30 feet? No, 39 meters
No.
is way more than that. It's
No,
like
no,
100 some odd
9
feet.
meters.
Oh, no.
No, 9 meters wide. So 9-meter wide grain silo to 12 kilometers up. You folded it over in a horizontal position. It fell back down till about 1,000 feet. You thrust vectored it back vertical, and then beyond vertical, and then back to vertical, and got it to land. It landed vertical.
It landed where it was supposed to land. So, I mean,
yeah. Forget that. Yeah,
it landed on a dime.
on a pad that was only about 3 times bigger around than it was. It landed right where you wanted it, and on the way down, it was a guy on a parachute. I mean, it was falling. That's it.
Yeah.
Had little flaps to kind of point it around, but there was no thrusting to get it where it went. That's impressive, and
it's definitely impressive. And except for the fireball, it all went well. So,
but if it wasn't for the fireball, it wouldn't be as good. That's the whole thing. The fireball didn't matter.
Yeah, it added a little excitement to it.
That thing was not going to fly again ever. And if it didn't blow up, people would have been, oh, damn.
What a bummer.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like the 6-car pileup and the green flag lap. Yep, I know.
Exactly.
All right. Well, any other predictions you want to make, or?
Nah, I think I'm good.
Okay.
Buy Tesla.
Buy Tesla, yeah. I don't think they're doing as well with their cars as they are with the space, with the rockets.
Well, prior to this launch, you'd been true, but afterwards, I hadn't looked, but this is going to be a big bump in SpaceX.
And don't buy any stock in the Hyperloop. Okay, so Bill, you got anything?
No, I predict we're going to have an inauguration on January 20th, as planned.
And what's her name going to be?
Yeah, it does not matter. We continue to move forward. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks or says. Yeah,
I saw something last night where Twitter was changing its terms of service effective January 21st.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Yeah, none of the big players in social media want to change anything. They have enough pain and suffering for what they do now, and if they get broken up and taken apart like some folks in the Congress want to do, then they got other problems. Let's see. What else are we gonna see? 2021 random thing. Yeah, we're gonna be wearing masks for a while. I would say probably at least till the end of the year.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I do not see that going away. So yeah, there'll be a lot of businesses that are not going to be open next year. Unfortunately. Hopefully there'll be some new ones that come in their place that can survive. So that's all I can hope for.
I don't have anything specific. I'm just going to predict that 2021 will have a hamvention of some form.
Even if it's virtual.
I don't think it's going to be virtual. I think if there's a hamvention, it will be an event, and I think there will be one. It may not take the form that we think it will, but I think there will be one. We have, and I didn't bother to bring this up till just now because I was thinking about it, then I stopped thinking about it, now I'm thinking about it again. Apparently, we will be part of the next QSO Today virtual expo.
Oh, when
March?
is that?
Huh?
March?
Like in
March, I think. Yes,
Oh, March.
we've been invited to be a part of that again. So look forward to that, I guess.
Another weekend.
And I'm going to make one general prediction that 2021, by any measure, will be better than 2020.
By any measure.
by any measure. Any measure you choose to pick, it will be better than 2020.
I'll tell you when I do my
So-
2021 taxes.
Fair enough. Ted's still here. Does Ted like? Oh, yep, there he is.
Oh, there he is.
So, you got any predictions you want to make for 2021?
Oh no, I'm not good on those. But I do have to admit the SpaceX stuff is amazing. Returning them and landing them vertically, laying in a straw on a pad is tough. But the other thing I'd point out is that just 2 days ago we did lose a pioneer in this field too,
Chuck
didn't we?
Yeager.
Chuck Yeager, yeah.
Yeah, Chuck Yeager.
Yeah, I actually
That's it.
met him and shook his hand at the 2004 Networkers Conference for Cisco. He was a keynote speakers in Orlando, Florida. Somewhere I have a picture with me, him, and a friend of mine.
Cool.
He's very interesting guy.
Cool.
Cool. Well, you want to take us
Well,
out of here then, Russ?
Anything else you want to wrap up with, Ted? Because I think we're about to shut her down. So,
Oh, I'm tapped out.
all right, sounds good. Well, thank you for being here. By the way, Don had to tap out early because he had an early morning. So it was nice for Don and for Ted to stop by and be part of the show, and of course for Tony as well to be a part of the show. And I, choose to
you're not
ignore
gonna
you.
ignore Tony.
No, I choose to ignore him because he's part of the family.
I just can't get rid of him,
Yeah. The closer you get, the further away we can push you.
Yeah, pretty much.
At least keep him warm.
So, all right. Well, that is, I think, going to call an end and a wrap to 2020 for Linux in the Ham Shack. 384 episodes we've done of this program, so not too shabby over the last 12 years or so. And of course, we will be back recording live again on the 7th of January, 2021. So we hope everybody has a great holiday season, a great end to 2020, and of course, the first week of 2021. And we hope to see you all back here again when we start up recording again after taking a little breather and maybe getting a little refresher and maybe getting a little drunker. Who knows?
Do we need a reason to do that?
Well, I don't know if we need a reason, but
Okay.
we can invent a few, right?
Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, and I don't see
Okay.
any format changes or anything else in the future. So I mean, everything seems to be fine. Good feedback on episodes and content and stuff like that. So that'll be good. Be easy for us to figure out what we're doing next year.
Yep, I don't think there'll be many changes. I mean, if anyone has any comments they want to make about the format or about the show or anything like that, of course, they're always welcomed. And we've got a month to kind of play around and see if there's anything that needs to be changed. But if nothing comes up, then we'll be returning sort of just the way we left, and we'll be doing that in early January. And hope to see you then. So with that, we'll go, for Ted, who's here, and Dawn earlier, and Tony, we'll go ahead and wrap this up and say this has been episode number 384, our 2020 year-end roundtable wrap-up of Linux in the Ham Shack. Thanks, everybody, for being here, and we hope to see you next year. I'm Russ, K5TUX.
I'm Cheryl, W5MOO.
And I'm Bill, NE4RD 73.